New details this morning regarding the redistricting efforts in Texas. Governor Newsom now says that President Trump missed the deadline and that California will move forward with drawing new congressional maps that will, quote,
Governor Gavin Newsom's bold embrace of Trump-style theatricality on social media, his mock all-caps proclamations, hyperbolic juxtapositions, and parody posts triggered a cascade of reactions from former President Donald Trump himself. Newsom, in effect, held up a mirror to Trump's signature communication style, electrifying his online following and positioning himself as a rising national figure. Trump, predictably, did not take that lightly. His response was swift, defensive, and loaded with personal barbs, deploying old nicknames, questioning Newsom's leadership, and daringly insinuating the idea of arrest. Before we start, smash the like and subscribe buttons for more updates. One of the most vivid exchanges occurred just a few days ago. After Newsom's trolling campaign escalated, Trump hit back on Truth Social, dismissing Newsom's apparent surge in popularity as nothing but the result of fake polling. He accused Newsom of being responsible for California's woes and called him a bully who ought to be punched in the mouth. That volley was just the latest in a political sparring match. Official reports describe how on August 21, 22, Newsom rolled out a redistricting campaign aimed at temporarily upending California's nonpartisan districting system to potentially add 5 Democratic-leaning congressional seats. Trump, sensing the risk of a Democratic power shift, delivered a pointed reply, warning that Democrats across the country would be forced to punch back. This verbal jousting has played out against the backdrop of Newsom's aggressive social media persona, his mocking tweets, flamboyant visuals, and trademark Trump-like theatrics. Analysts see this as a calculated attempt to boost his national profile, perhaps with an eye toward a 2028 presidential run. Trump's response, reactionary as it is, demonstrates that Newsom's strategy appears to be working. His name recognition and support within California's Democratic base have surged dramatically. One CNN data expert noted that voter interest in Newsom as a presidential contender ballooned from around 35% in 2023 to a striking 75% today as his feud with Trump plays out. Yet this story isn't merely about online posturing. It is deeply rooted in tangible policy battles and legal controversies. Recall the simmering confrontation over the deployment of the National Guard to Los Angeles during the June 2025 immigration protests. Trump bypassed California's governor and federalized the state's National Guard, prompting Newsom to sue, accusing Trump of authoritarian overreach and describing his move as illegal and immoral. A federal court initially ruled in Newsom's favor, only for the decision to be stayed pending appeal in the Ninth Circuit. That conflict set the stage for more animus. At one point, Trump even went so far as to suggest that it would be a great thing if Newsom were arrested, an incendiary comment that Newsom decried as an unmistakable step toward authoritarianism. Trump also weighed in on Newsom's handling of the LA unrest more recently, claiming he dialed Newsom to criticize his response and told him to do a better job. Newsom flatly denied receiving the call or even a voicemail. Further fueling the narrative was the resurfacing of an older Trump comment about San Francisco during the time when Newsom was mayor and Kamala Harris served as district attorney. In August 2024, Trump nostalgically praised the city, sparking incredulity from tennis legend Martina Navratilova, who jokingly responded, LOL, highlighting the irony of Trump praising political figures he now lambasts. All of this underscores how this feud is not a side performance, but rather a high-stakes political duel combining satire, policy, legal action, public perception, and media spectacle, all feeding into broader ambitions. Newsom's mockery has translated into momentum. Trump's reaction underscores how much Newsom now matters to the political battleground. What makes Donald Trump's commentary on Gavin Newsom so fascinating is not just the surface-level insults or his instinctive counterpunching, but the way he frames Newsom as a symbol of California's broader political culture. In Trump's rhetoric, Newsom is consistently positioned as the embodiment of what he calls the California disaster, a phrase Trump has used repeatedly in rallies and Truth Social posts when criticizing homelessness, crime, and migration patterns in the state. By singling out Newsom personally, Trump seeks to tie California's social and economic challenges directly to the governor's leadership, using him as a foil to rally conservative audiences who see California as a cautionary tale of liberal governance. This has turned Newsom into more than just another Democratic governor in Trump's eyes. He is portrayed as the ideological opposite of Trump himself, making him a recurring target even beyond the typical election cycle. Recently, Trump escalated his attacks by dismissing Newsom's sudden popularity surge as the product of media manipulation, accusing outlets like CNN and MSNBC of artificially inflating his presence on the national stage. Trump's complaint was that mainstream coverage of Newsom's fight with him was less about policy and more about style, giving the California governor what he referred to as free airtime. The irony, of course, is that Trump's own commentary amplifies Newsom's national profile, a dynamic not lost on political observers, who point out that Trump is helping to make Newsom a household name in swing states where he was previously little known. One of the more striking lines from Trump in recent weeks has been his insistence that Newsom isn't even liked in his own state. This claim followed the release of state-level approval ratings that showed Californians divided on Newsom's performance, particularly on housing and public safety. Trump seized on those numbers to argue that Democrats were hypocritical in touting Newsom as a national figure when his home turf is so contested. He framed it in typical Trump fashion. How can someone run a country when they can't even run their own backyard? The comment was designed not only as an attack on Newsom, but also as a signal to Trump supporters that Democrats have no stable leadership bench. In another pointed jab, Trump mocked Newsom's travel schedule, accusing him of spending more time auditioning for president than governing California. This line of attack recalls the same criticisms Trump once leveled at Kamala Harris when she was vice president, suggesting a deliberate attempt to blur the lines between potential Democratic successors to President Biden and paint them all as distracted from the real problems facing their constituents. Newsom's cross-country appearances, often to support Democratic candidates or promote California's climate agenda, became easy fodder for Trump's ridicule. Perhaps most telling was Trump's recent attempt to undermine Newsom's masculinity and toughness, a tactic he has deployed against numerous opponents over the years. At a rally, he scoffed at the governor's polished appearance, referring to him as Pretty Boy Newsom, and claiming that his carefully crafted public image would crumble under the weight of national scrutiny. It was an echo of the old nicknames Trump used so effectively in 2016 and 2020, tailored to paint Newsom as an inauthentic performer rather than a serious leader. The interplay between these remarks and Newsom's own biting responses illustrates a unique political theater that feels more like a preview of a presidential matchup than a governor-president feud. Trump's latest comments suggest he views Newsom as a genuine threat to his dominance of the political spotlight. By attempting to diminish him through ridicule, questioning his approval at home, and labeling his popularity as artificial, Trump is implicitly acknowledging that Newsom's rise is real enough to merit his attention. For Newsom, the more Trump talks about him, the more legitimacy he gains on the national stage, a paradox that makes this war of words unusually consequential. Another layer to Trump's commentary on Gavin Newsom lies in how he links the California governor to Vice President Kamala Harris. Trump has repeatedly suggested that Newsom is waiting in the wings should Harris falter, portraying both figures as part of what he calls the California machine. By fusing Newsom's image with Harris's record, Trump tries to expand his attacks to two potential Democratic presidential contenders at once. His remarks often imply that neither can stand on their own, and that their strength comes only from elite backing and media favoritism. This pairing not only sharpens the partisan contrast, but also sets up Trump to argue that California's political culture is being exported to Washington, something he insists is damaging the country. Trump has also zeroed in on environmental policy as a wedge issue against Newsom. In recent speeches, he accused the governor of pursuing radical climate initiatives that harm businesses and push families out of California. He framed Newsom's electric vehicle mandates and renewable energy investments as job killers, warning that such policies would destroy middle-class livelihoods if they ever reached the national stage. These remarks allow Trump to play to his base's anxieties about economic change while casting Newsom as an elitist, disconnected from working-class concerns. The strategy mirrors Trump's past critiques of the Green New Deal, but with a personalized edge now that Newsom is attached to them. The cultural dimension of Trump's remarks has also grown more pointed. He recently took aim at California's education policies, particularly its emphasis on progressive curricula and diversity measures, tying them directly to Newsom's leadership. Trump claimed that California schools are indoctrination centers and warned that a Newsom presidency would spread those same values nationwide. For Trump's supporters, This plays into broader fears about cultural shifts, giving him another avenue to attack Newsom as a threat to traditional American values. Trump has worked to paint Newsom as emblematic of political hypocrisy. He highlighted reports of the governor dining at exclusive venues during pandemic restrictions, bringing them back into the spotlight as proof that Newsom governs by rules for thee, not for me. By reviving that controversy, Trump seeks to reinforce a narrative of double standards, a theme that resonates strongly within his base. The move is strategic, reminding voters of a past scandal while suggesting that any rise in Newsom's national profile ignores those blemishes. Taken together, Trump's latest remarks form a mosaic of criticism, personal jabs about image, broader attacks on California's governance, and warnings about national implications. Each line is calibrated to diminish Newsom, while paradoxically cementing him as one of Trump's most visible Democratic adversaries on the national stage. If you liked this video, please give it a like and subscribe to our channel. Also, leave your comments below and tell us, what are your thoughts on Trump's recent comments about Newsom? We want to hear from you. Thank you for watching and see you next time.